Hi guys, TotallyDubbed here, and today I'm doing a video review on the AOC AG273QCG. Now this is a 1440p 27-inch monitor that has a TN panel that runs at 1 millisecond and at 165 Hz via overclock. This monitor has two inputs, HDMI and DisplayPort. It's also got two built-in 2-watt speakers which are sufficient for basic music listening or Windows notifications. Other than that, all the other specs will be in the description below, as you can see in front of you, so do bear that in mind. Now in terms of cost, it comes in at £650, which is a ton of money to spend on this sort of monitor. In the US it can be found for around $650. To give you an idea, if you really want a 165 Hz monitor, ASUS has the ROG Swift, which has pretty much exactly the same specifications, and it comes in at around £560. If you're not bothered about 165 Hz and you're more than capable at getting 144 Hz and getting an IPS panel on top of that, you can spend about £460 on what I would deem is still the best gaming monitor on the market, the Acer XF270HUA. Now I should also mention that this monitor comes with a G-Sync module, so we'll have it enabled by default. I have a GTX 1080 and therefore I was able to test that. I'll get into that in just a bit. So before going into all of the other things, let's talk about the build quality. There's a 3-side borderless design which looks pretty nice, and a pretty small bezel underneath with a massive Agon symbol, AOC's Agon symbol. The monitor has a height adjustment and tilt, and it can swivel around, but it can't be pivoted around. That's also because it's got a slight curvature to it, which is good, adds a slight bit of immersion, but nothing too spectacular, just because of its size. It's 27-inch. On the edges of the monitor, you don't actually notice any sort of tail off, so absolutely no problems there. The stand is well made. It's got a sort of metallic red type of look to it, and around the back of the monitor, if I just quickly show you, what you'll notice is it's got RGB lights which can be customized through the OSD. Looks all very pretty, but they're not that strong, so like a backlight like that will do better. And you've got a little sort of LED lights over here as well. You've got also a joystick button which is used to access the OSD, which I'll just get into in just a second. Now on the side of the monitor you've also got sort of a little sort of headphone stands. They're very weak, they're very soft plastic, so I don't know about longevity, but nevertheless you can hang your headphones if you so wish on either side, because you've got two, so you can pull one on from either side of the monitor. Other than that, you've got the headphone jack, audio input as well, and also you've got 4 USB 3.0 ports underneath the monitor, which can be used to quick access your PC, as long as you've got the USB cable connected from the monitor to your PC. So now let's talk about the OSD and then move on to the picture quality. So the OSD is accessed by the joystick button underneath, and it props up the OSD on the right hand side. If I just zoom in just a little bit for you guys so you can see just a little bit better, and also in terms of my settings. So it's pretty intuitive and very easy to use. The joystick button is actually very sensitive, which can be a bit frustrating at times, but anyway, game settings, you can see I've got game mode off, shadow control 0, game color, which pretty much decreases the saturation, and overdrive on strong. Luminance, I've got it on sRGB right now, but you can adjust the brightness if you so wish. And as you can see, sometimes the monitor can be a little bit finicky with its joystick control. It's very sensitive. Anyway, the G-Sync settings, you can see I've got overclock enabled, max refresh rate at 165 Hz. You can also enable ULMB if you so wish, but you'll have to disable the overclock and what have you, and also G-Sync. Color setup, you can see I've got an sRGB mode. Again, that can be customized. Audio, it has DTS sound built in. I didn't really notice much of a difference with it enabled or disabled, but I felt that there was a little bit of better bass on DTS sound. As I said, monitor sound just get some set of speakers, they'll be a lot better. Light FX is what I talked about, the sort of color. You can customize them all. You can see over here I've just got a rainbow and water wave pattern enabled. And then other than that, you've got some extras. For example, you can see what resolution you're running at, and the OSD setup as well. So it's a real comprehensive set of menus, and I've got no sort of real complaint about it. It offers exactly what you'd want from a OSD menu. So now let's talk about the picture quality. Now, first of all, this monitor has a matte display on it, but even though it had a matte display, it had a really weird kind of, I don't really know how to explain it, but it looked almost pixelated. And it's not because of the Windows settings, display resolution, no, it's just due to the coating. The coating had a slight weird, a cloudy, pixelated look to it, and it's nothing like I've ever come across. And bearing in mind I've reviewed over 120, 130 different monitors, it was pretty weird to see this. And I did try cleaning it before you ask, but it's really just some coating, or the way that the TN panel is being displayed. Regardless, anyway, it's just something I did notice, and it did take away from the viewing experience. However, in terms of color accuracy, vibrancy, for a TN panel, I must say it's absolutely really impressive. Circling through images, so for example, this Mitsubishi over here looks really nice. The blues kind of pop out, well contrasted between the black sort of panel at the back. It's not going to be competing with IPS panels or VA panels, but still, you still get this really nice sort of hue to it. Even in the Subaru image, again, you've got nice deep black over here by the intakes, and the white color throughout the image. Again, contrast ratio isn't as good as an IPS and a VA panel, where you'd get the background over here being really kind of popping out, the Subaru kind of popping out from the background. So just bear that in mind. Contrast ratio isn't that great, but still to the naked eye, it does really pop in color, and it is pretty impressive to look at. So no real complaints as a gamer point of view. If you're going to be video editing, photo editing, things like that, not one I would really thoroughly recommend, but your mileage may vary. So for gaming, I think it's absolutely perfect, and it's pretty impressive to see a TN panel that looks this good. So in terms of its gaming ability, this is where things get interesting. So you've got NVIDIA G-Sync. You can see I've got enabled over here, or hopefully you can see it through the camera. It might be a little bit small, but I've got it enabled over here, and I've got the resolution set to 165 Hz at 1440p. So I can confirm that G-Sync does work. So opening up the Pendulum demo, which is anyone can get, you can see the G-Sync logo is on over there. And yes, it does have butter smooth transitions, and you can disable it, and you'll be hopefully able to see a lot of breaks happening along these pillars. So G-Sync does work flawlessly. It's fantastic, especially if you're a casual gamer. You're going to really enjoy having that G-Sync compatibility. But let's be honest over here, are you going to be using G-Sync if you're getting a 165 Hz monitor? Because if you're buying a 165 Hz monitor, you're probably the type of person who wants to be using this for more competitive gaming. And yes, I've got you covered. I've got Counter-Strike on the tab. Hopefully it'll open up in just a second. But nevertheless, if you are a competitive gamer, this is the monitor you're going to be really interested about, because 165 Hz offers those extra little frames, which supposedly will give you an edge on the battlefield. I must say, I wasn't massively taken by the 165 Hz refresh rate. It didn't look amazing to the point that I was like, oh, it's a life-changing experience over my 144 Hz monitor. The 165 Hz over here is, perfectly acceptable. It gives you those extra frames, but is it going to change your life? Absolutely not. Is it going to make you a better gamer? Again, absolutely not. And is it going to be something that you're really going to notice in terms of the difference between 144 Hz and 165 Hz? In all honesty, I mean, your mileage may vary. You could disagree with me, but personally, for someone who's played over 2,200 hours plus of competitive Counter-Strike, I can't see myself really going, I really need this monitor. So 165 Hz or over 144 Hz most of the time I think is pretty pointless, and here 165 Hz doesn't really offer me something that's life-changing to my competitive gaming. So in terms of setting wise, I set it to overdrive as strong. There's a slight amount of overshoot ghosting that happens. If you want, dial that down to medium or off if you're a casual gamer and you have NVIDIA G-Sync enabled, for example, and you won't see any ghosting whatsoever. But overall, in terms of the actual input lag and the response time monitor, absolutely perfect. Got no complaints whatsoever. Does what it says on the tin. Really low input and excellent response time. So yes, it has a fantastic competitive grade gaming panel that I would definitely use if I was playing competitive Counter-Strike. So no complaints there whatsoever, and I must say AOC have done a good job in this respect. But this really goes down to my first question that I was kind of posing myself. Is it worth over another 165Hz monitor or even over 144Hz monitor? The answer, in my opinion, is no. You're paying a huge premium, £650, and you're getting kind of a basic panel. So in my opinion, I would avoid this monitor. That's my personal input. It is still a very good monitor, it's just really, really expensive. So there we go, guys. I've been Totally Dubbed. If you enjoyed this review, make sure you give it a like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Take care, guys. Totally Dubbed out. Bye-bye.